Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about the long-awaited debut album from Matt Heafy's black metal side project, Ibaraki, entitled Rashomon. And no, you did not hear me incorrectly. Matt Heafy, from Trivium, has made a black metal album featuring Ihsahn of Emperor fame, Nurgle of Behemoth fame, Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance fame, and also the album deals heavily with Japanese mythology because of fucking course it does. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this has been in the works for a very, very long time. As far back as 2009, Matt was really interested in the idea of participating in some kind of black metal project, even playing around with the idea of releasing a full-blown second-wave black metal worship record under some kind of pseudonym. Then, sometime around the early to mid-2010s, Matt begins spending a lot of time with the aforementioned Ihsahn. They start quietly working on material together, and both of them begin talking publicly about some kind of collaborative record. To my knowledge, no exact details were ever given out. However, we did get a brief teaser, a snippet of what this potential Matt Heafy-Ihsahn collaborative record might have sounded like, thanks to a guest spot Ihsahn made on Trivium's 2015 record, Silence in the Snow. And now, 7 years later, we can not only taste, but eat, devour, satisfy ourselves with the fruit of Matt and Ihsahn's labor, Rashomon. Let's address the elephant in the room, or perhaps, more appropriately in this instance, quietly but quickly escort the elephant out of the room before the fucking genre police bust down the goddamn door and kill the thing in cold blood. This isn't really a black metal record. There are indeed plenty of tremolo riffs and blast beats, the atmosphere is cold and grim, and there are plenty of scorching, demonic black metal shrieks and screams. But there are also some really technical kind of groove metal, metalcore breakdowns. There are a lot of heavy metal twin guitar leads and solos and harmonies. There are a lot of clean vocals on the record, a lot of clean sung melodies and choruses that, honest to God, would not be out of place on a more recent Trivium record like What the Dead Men Say or last year's In the Court of the Dragon. It makes for something that feels genuinely really unique and fresh and new. Like, Ibaraki might unironically be on the verge of creating some new sub-genre. I don't know, what do we want to call this? Blackened alternative metalcore. Sure, there we go, why not? A great example of everything I've talked about would be Akumu, one of the album's lead singles. This thing is a genuinely unpredictable and gnarly black metal bruiser with dirty lead riffs and some of the most punishing breakdowns and grooves I think I've heard from anything in recent memory. I mean, holy goddamn fucking shit. Super technical, super intense. It's got that really chewy, meaty, muscular, heavy metal sheen that I expect from like a more modern kind of melodic death metal record, which I really like as well. I like the contrast between Matt's very painful, agonizing screams and Nurgle's more traditional kind of blackened death metal gutturals. It makes for something really intense and pulverizing, but not necessarily overwhelming. Like, as crazy as everything gets, you're not going to be so fucking flabbergasted that you won't want to just absolutely knock a motherfucker out in the pit, especially not with those goddamn irresistible grooves. There's also Hakanaki Hitsuizen, which officially opens the record on a slightly bizarre but fascinating note, with these blackened waltz-like rhythms and ghostly choirs and flourishes of tambourine and accordion. Then there's Kagutsuchi, which feels a little bit more elaborate and dramatic, thanks to some gargantuan rhythms, some operatic vocals with some progressive flourishes and meditative sequences that would not be out of place on like a late 90s, early 2000s OPEF record. Then there's Tamashi no Hukai, which is a much more brutal and intense piece of almost blackened death metal with dizzying riffs and some absolutely chaotic percussion, but I gotta say, the star of the show on this record might be Ronin, if only because of a truly stellar, lightning-in-a-bottle vocal performance from Jared fucking Way of all goddamn people. I cannot fucking believe I am saying this in a legitimate fucking capacity, but here we are. The best part of the Trivium black metal side project is Jared fucking Way of My Chemical Goddamn Fucking Romance screaming his goddamn lungs out like a goddamn lunatic. Speaking of guest stars, I think it's really cool that Matt's family contributes vocals to a lot of different songs on this record. Members of Trivium also contribute to this record. And, of course, there's Ihsahn, who's obviously the major force behind this album aside from Matt. If Matt is the star of the show, then Ihsahn is the director slash producer slash maniac who has to organize all of the chaos and make it look as not chaotic as possible. As a producer, as a guitarist, as a vocalist, he consistently brings a lot of cool ideas to the table without distracting, without stealing Matt's spotlight. There are some elements that are holding me back from really loving this record. For instance, there are some weird sound effects and samples that can be heard across the record, like the Super Mario Bros. Coin sound effect that are just kind of distracting and pull me out of the moment. Plus, while I like Matt Heafy as a singer, I think that his clean vocals don't ever really mesh all that well with the blackened metalcore chaos that he is constantly throwing out there. That said, though, I enjoyed this record enough that I am willing to give it a very enthusiastic 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a very good record. Not a perfect one. As I've already said, there are some bits and pieces that could be better implemented, and in some cases just could be scrapped entirely, but the stuff that works really fucking works. It is consistently thrilling, consistently interesting. It's really great to see Matt just pouring his fucking heart out onto a record. This is entirely his vision, one delivered with the help of some really great people, but his vision nonetheless. I don't really know where this project is going to go from here, but I do know that I genuinely want to hear more of Ibaraki's blackened alternative metalcore, as I'm now dubbing it. And I'm hoping that I don't have to wait like 13 fucking years to hear it again. 3.5 out of 5, surprisingly a really good record. Check it out, why not? And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? Thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.